huge intention behind it. Change the paradigm. To achieve a state of homefulness needs a kind of thinking that has never happened before. We want you to join us, to help us create a vision for the whole of Ireland and its people.
And now, here to lead the discussion on the new paradigm of homefulness.
Hello and welcome on today's episode of the Aron O'Dowd Show. We got something quite incredible today. We understand that, having a home is so important for everyone, to have shelter, feel safe, feel secure. But what if you don't have that and you're on the streets and you're in a position where you just can't have a home? And in Ireland, that's a big problem, with homelessness being a huge problem for people that are living on the streets. But Homefulness Ireland is something that is going to be there to help them. Where entrepreneurs are together. Ciara Heneghan is a coach. We have many entrepreneurs, including Tunney Ware, Declan Dowling, and Bill Phillips. Hello, welcome to the show, guys. How are you doing?
All doing great.
Hello, Aaron.
Hey guys, how's it going, everyone?
Tell us why this idea came about.
So in 2017, I took my son to Manchester to go over to a football game. And I hadn't been up in Dublin in a really long time. And he was only 9, I think, or 10 at the time. And when we got up there, we were walking along the Liffey to get to the airport bus. And slowly but surely, he got quieter and quieter and quieter as he saw all of the different people in the doorways, sleeping in sleeping bags, and some of them not sleeping in sleeping bags, tents all along the Liffey. And it felt like one of those moments where you say, out of sight, out of mind. When you don't see something, it's almost like it doesn't exist. And he was getting more and more upset as we were walking up the Liffey. And by the time we got to the top, I could see that he was crying. So we got on the bus, and in my mind, I was thinking, we're about to do something that these people aren't going to be able to do. We're sitting on a warm bus to start with, and now we're going away on a plane. And it all felt a bit surreal. I'd given a few of them money on the way up the street, but I felt like it wasn't enough. It's like you can't give everything to everybody. So went over, and on the way back, we came down the other side of the O'Connell Street. And by the time we got to the bottom of the street, it felt like there was even more homeless people on the street. And I thought, how can it be so, like it's two different sides of a street? How can I have not seen on one side or on the other? And by the time we got to the bottom of that street, he saw a young couple, and they were sitting in a doorway. It was really cold. It was November. They had light clothes on, and it was freezing. And he asked me, could he go and talk to them? So I gave him some money, and he went over and he had a conversation with them. He's only 10, and he came back and he was crying. So on the way back on the bus, coming home from that trip, I thought somebody should really do something about it. And then I realized I'm that somebody. So if I see something, then I get the opportunity to do something. And it took a couple of years to process what that was meant to be. And then I contacted Lee in 2019, and I said to him, hey, listen, I've had an idea. Let's end homelessness in Ireland. And he was on board immediately. And from there, we created a team. And that's what we've been doing ever since.
And Lee, what about you? What was your concept of this idea?
I suppose similar to Ciara, I've seen it a few times, and it's amazing how I'm a people watcher. So sometimes I was in Romford, and there was a chap who sleeps under the bridge just across from Romford railway station, and he just sitting there with a blanket. He's there all the time, and this is Romford in Essex, the UK. And I noticed how people just walked past him like he wasn't there. And I went up and had a chat with him and asked him, basically, like, what's it like to, I said, no disrespect, what's it like to appear or seem invisible? And he said, it's a good question. He said, why do you say that? I said, well, I was standing across watching how people just walk past you like you're not there. I said, or even look away, their eyes change direction. I said, how does that make you feel? And he said, I don't really have any feelings now. He said, like, my life changed. And he had a corporate job, and life just took a turn. He had a loss in the family. So it wasn't anything like drug related or anything like that. His life just spiraled downhill to a point where he just lost a sense of himself, a sense of like his value, and couldn't find anywhere to go. Lost his home. He had his own home, everything. Lost his family. It was a death in the family, and that threw him. And he went into a spiral of depression. And that had been his life for like 17 years. So when you start to ask why, it's not the default assumption. You'll be surprised at how many people are homeless and there's no addiction or anything. It's just life circumstances. And even if the addiction's there, it's still life circumstances, and that's their way of coping, if that makes sense. So that in many, many ways, they need the support in all different areas.
Wow. And yourself, Declan, what was your idea and concepts around it?
Yeah, Aaron, I suppose it was, look, it's something that's always had an impact on me. I suppose even the time that I worked in Galway, certainly wouldn't have seen as much of an impact of homelessness as you would when you're walking around, as Ciara said, in Dublin. It's really in your face there. But the frustrating thing for me around addressing the homelessness was that word, homelessness. And again, I'm one that always sees the lovely view outside instead of the dirt on the glass on the window. And I just looked at, there's so many fantastic organizations out there. Peter McFerry, Focus Area. You can name a handful of a lot of different support groups, communities out there looking, to alleviate the problem. But it's more than just putting a roof over somebody's head. It's and just passing the odd person and slipping them a tenner or 20 quid or whatever. It's something I've always done, but I've done it with an ache in my heart, because I knew, okay, that the couple of quid you give them is going to help them maybe with a bit of food, or God forbid a drink or whatever. But the thing is, it's there's just a part of my DNA that just almost bleeds really for these people, and the frustration around seeing so much good work being done, but yet the problem is there's no sign of it abating. And it was just with a couple of early conversations with Ciara that I said, listen, I'd love to be part of something going forward here where we could look at putting something together. And the word homefulness came out, and it just resonated as a word that I felt would attract people that were willing to take some action. And unfortunately, with great enthusiasm and vigor and energy, we had a couple of meetings, and COVID kicked in, which kind of, okay, we can use it as an excuse or whatever. That it put a little bit of a block on our initial enthusiasm, but our enthusiasm has never waned here. And the thing is, my daughter's home from Australia, and again, she lives in Canberra. But again, talking about the homeless, and the number of people that are caught up in this unfortunate circle. It's the problems around it, the mental health and everything that's around it, not just the roof over our heads, that I feel drawn to do something about. And yet there's a part of me that feels helpless, in that there's little I can do myself. But I know with people like Ciara and Bill and Lee and Aaron and Joe, and the people that have a passion to do something concrete here, and get together, I think we can really do something powerful here and lead by example. It's a big task, but it's not something that's insurmountable, and it's just a matter of for me, I think, just really getting focused on some key activities here, attracting the right people in with the right skill sets, the right the background, the resources to do something over and above what the government are attempting to do, and some of the wonderful charities out there, what they're looking to do. And I think the key to it lies in the word homefulness. And I just, as I say, I love this bunch of people. I really feel that we've just been really scratching the surface here, and maybe a little bit more focus on a couple of key activities could really springboard this for us and help so many people. It's not like we have 50,000 people or 100,000 people here in Ireland. The numbers, whilst they are high, I think we can make some serious inroads on those numbers, certainly this year and over the next coming years.
For sure. And I'm part of this project myself, and to hear the comparisons and see the data, it's kind of mind-boggling and shocking, but yet the paradigm shift that this project is trying to do is quite unique. And I don't know if Bill is on. If he is, let me know. But really, we were on a meeting, and Bill Phillips said, "Hey, we have this thing called Homefulness." And when you guys heard the name, what did you think? This is the name, and this is how it feels, and so on.
Oh, it was epic. And it was perfect. I had named it "We Are Somebody" because that felt like what was happening on the way home from that trip. We are somebody. Everybody is somebody. Everybody can do something about something. And as we were talking, and suddenly Bill comes out with, "What about the word homefulness?" And it felt like it was perfect because it was the exact opposite, as in the exact opposite to the word that has been used for 30, 40 years. And then he went away and he created the noun, the verb, the adjective, and the meaning of homefulness, and he sent it to us. And I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but for me, it felt like we had just put something so perfect on what we were trying to achieve. It was amazing.
And I know, Lee, you have a background in NLP and all that, and regarding your coaching, but when you heard the concept and idea, what did you think of Homefulness Ireland as a title?
Well, I think obviously it gives the paradigm shift, or that mental shift, where you feel and think about it differently, and not seeing it as a problem, seeing it as a solution. And I suppose it's that community, that social construct acceptance that this is not normal, that the word homefulness is normal, as in everyone should have a home, everyone should have a place in society, and not feel that they're excluded or are excluded, whichever way you look at it. Obviously, you've got how does the listeners or viewers view homeless people? And do they just see them as outcasts of society? Because that's the bit that's ours to own. That isn't anything to do with them. When we start to see it as that everyone should have a home, everyone has a place in society, everybody is somebody. When we start to see it that way, then we don't leave people alone in a crowd. So it's not an empathetic, you think it would be, as in compassion and empathy, and you're viewing them from that perspective. It's normal for everybody to have a home, and it's abnormal that we accept that they shouldn't, if that makes sense. I think the name brings that paradigm to fruition, where it's, even though, like Declan said, there's good charities out there and good means out there that support people. When we move beyond, say, homelessness to homefulness, it's beyond the charity. It's beyond that concept of these people need, say, a handout, where these people need a home, they need a place, they need a reality where they are part of what all the normal things in society, regardless of what has transitioned in their life. Whether that answers your question, Aaron, but I think the name makes that transition emotionally and psychologically.
What about you, Declan?
Yeah, look, it resonates with me, 100%. And I suppose like the way I look at it, for me personally, I think it's a loss of connection. A lot of people that have unfortunately slipped into the the homeless situation there. As Lee says, you could talk to some of these people. Some of them are, through no fault of their own. For a lot of them, I'm going to use the word vacant. It's like as if they've disconnected, and it's bloody soul destroying. It's tough. It's tough to see. It's tough to witness. When you speak to somebody and it's like they're not, and I don't mean this in any sort of a patronizing or condescending way. They're like a lump of meat just sitting there. We're just waiting to die. And I don't mean to be dramatic there, but the thing is, it's my heart bleeds for these people, and it's for me a simple. If we can help these people reconnect a little bit, it's just as it's. I'm not trying to put a label on people here or diagnose it, but I think a lot of it is disconnection, and disconnection, maybe with themselves, their awareness, and I think there's a lot of help needed out here. And as I say, it's not just about the roof over our head, and I think the fullness aspect of it. This is where we take people back to being whole, and again, not trying to label people or judge people, but if we can just reconnect them to community, reconnect them to resources, services, reconnect them with other people, reconnect them with other souls, and not just be a disconnect. That's where I really feel that word homefulness. I kind of get visions of my mother and my grandmother, cooking brown bread at home. My grandmother making butter, and I'm going back to that real sense of homefulness. Who doesn't have their fondest memories when they go back to that? Now, maybe I'm giving my age away when I start talking about things like that. But again, it's back to connection. It's back to love. So homefulness, I think we just need to get the word out, ladies and gents. Just get that word out there.
What is the mission and wanting to achieve from this project?
Where do you start?
For me, it's a desire to give people the sense of feeling safe and secure. So sometimes it feels like when we talk about homelessness, or as we're having the conversation about homefulness, it's almost easy for us to have the conversation because we aren't. We are homeful. We have our home, we have security, we have safety, we have warmth, we have all of those things. So when we're having the conversation, it feels like we're talking about something that we don't understand because we're not there. We're not a part of it. We're seeing the people who are part of it. We're witnessing the people who are part of it. And sometimes we're forgetting the people who are part of it, not for any bad reason, but because out of sight, out of mind. Because when we're not looking at it constantly, it's far away from us, from our minds. So the idea behind seeing people homeful, the idea behind giving people the opportunity and the option to reconnect to a society that doesn't judge them, to find space in communities where they can reintegrate and feel dignity and not freeze in doorways and not have people look down on them. It's simple. To me, it's really simple. It shouldn't be a thing. Homefulness for everyone should be a thing. And we've had multiple conversations through our meetings, and somebody will say, well, what about the people who actually want to stay on the street? What about those people who have a desire to stay out there? If there are people who have a true desire to stay on the street, and I mean that it's a genuine choice that they're making, that it's the truest choice that they're making, that nobody is forcing them to make that, that's different. But for the most part, for people who would love to be able to sit beside a warm fire, have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, close their door behind them, and know that they're safe and secure. To me, that's like a basic human right. If you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's where everybody should feel they can be, is that basic human right. So for us to be able to envision this homefulness situation where everybody has that opportunity and it's provided and it's there and everyone cares and consciousness, general consciousness has changed. That's kind of the mission and the vision for me.
By the way, Declan Lee, guys, tune in. Let me know what you're thinking, because this is a project that we.
Well, part of what we're looking to achieve, Aaron, is it's not to medicate the problem; it's to resolve and solve the problem. So it actually it eradicates homelessness, not just in Ireland but right across the world. And that's why the name Homefulness is so important, because it's getting into that psychology and that those conversations and activities and those collaborative unions that don't see this as a medicated problem, hit it out the right way. Because if we're not looking at the big picture that everybody has a home, everybody has a place, then we can't resolve it. All we can do is medicate it. And in many ways, by doing that, even though it's done with compassion and empathy and understanding, it's still enabling the problem to stay in existence. So the way we're looking at it, and not discrediting anybody else that's doing their part for it, is how do we resolve this where it's not a part of modern 21st century society? So it's part of it. What we're looking for is sponsors, business sponsors, property developers, architects, people that might want to leave a legacy with land, so we can actually start to bring assets and projects together to enable the transition from having homelessness in our society to move into a reality where homelessness is the new reality. So I think Declan can pick it up from there, Declan, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, fine. Look, I'm just thinking back, I see, Sandra D there's asked, what actions are being taken, and, what action steps are in the works. A lot of action has been taken and initiated, and I suppose we're at the stage now where we need to start following through and stuff. So from a very, we've had a couple of meetings and in-person meetings, which obviously are over and above what we've done on Zoom. But again, it's to take the the vision that we have for homefulness and convey that to people out there, and let people know that we have a passion that this is a done deal. We had a remarkable session with Bill Phillips. Unfortunately, Bill hasn't got a chance to join us yet, but we had a remarkable session with Bill down in Mullingar, where we got together for a day, and we did some future-based planning, and it was great to get a good group of people there, where we pooled our all our own ideas, etc. into onto many flip charts and pooled it all together there with some key activities to take place. And again, this was done without any limitation on our thinking. One of the things that it obviously did highlight for us was, as Hugh touched on there, that we do need resources to move forward here. We do need financial resources, and we need that backing. But this, as I said earlier, it is a big problem. It is not an unsurmountable problem. And the thing is, the attracting the right people, and as Lee said there a moment ago about collaboration, we get the right people that come at this with the right intention and the right passion in here. The various activity steps that we need, whether it's securing land, securing the resources, getting a small little community going, getting some activity on some tiny homes. I'm in discussion with a couple of people that are whilst they're Canadian based, and they're looking at addressing the situation. For example, that happened over in Hawaii, over in Maui. So many homes wiped out completely, and there's a major thing going on over in the States there where they're raising. There's a fundraising thing going on for 50 million to rehome a lot of these people. Same with the catastrophes that happened down there in Florida with the hurricanes and stuff. So there's a willingness and if you want to call it a sense of wanting to help here. Ireland's a small country, guys. I don't know what the exact figures are now. I know Joe put some figures in there recently, but if we look at 15,000, say between 15, 20,000 homeless people here in Ireland, whilst it sounds a lot, it's not a lot. And it wouldn't take too much outside of the box thinking to move that into some action steps to start initially getting some people homed and housed, and probably for me, more importantly, improving some of the resources, the support systems around that for them. Again, we've seen situations where people are homed, and for whatever reason they're back out again in no time, because they don't have the proper services and facilities to back that up there. So again, specific action steps. That's probably really where we're at now with respect to nailing down accountability around that. Who's going to do what? And as we come together again, and I know on our last meeting we were talking about just coming together again. It's great having the Zoom calls, but the in-person meeting is so important, because I think we really get a powerful sense of how serious we are about doing this, instead of just talking about it. There's too much talk as far as I'm concerned, guys. And for me, I'd love to up the proactivity on it, not just from ourselves, but to attract other people in who are better at doing these things, doing the things that need to be done. And there's people out there willing to contribute. If they don't want to contribute financially or can't contribute financially, they can contribute with their time, their skills, their expertise, their connections. So
can I jump in there for a second, Declan, just to give an idea of some of the action steps that we have taken. So a conversation I had a couple of months ago was interesting around how quickly things get done. And it made me sit back and realize that when something is going to get done properly, there is a foundation that has to be set up. And we've been making that foundation over the last few years in the most incredible way. We've been having conversations with incredible people who've come on and given their viewpoints. And along the way, we created a song. We had Bill Phillips' son who created a song for us and recorded it for us. And that's on our website. And it's homefulnessireland.org is the website for anybody who wants to have a look at it. We have had multiple conversations with people in various different fields, from the legal side of things to the financial side of things. We're talking to people about various different options when it comes to how we can financially make this work. We're not a charity, and we don't have any interest in going down the route of the charity, because there are so many charities that are out there that are doing the work that they're doing. So we have a very different idea, and sometimes it feels like we can't share the fullness of the idea because we're taking action on it step by step and bit by bit. One of the things that we've done is set up a newsletter, because the idea is that we're opening the conversation to homefulness. So the conversation has been around homelessness for such a very long time that it's natural for people to talk about it. But we just want to change the conversation, flip the script a little bit and talk about homefulness. So even though it seems sometimes that there's imperceptible actions, there's a lot going on under the surface that needs to happen in order for us to take the next steps. And there's a lot that we're looking for. There's a lot that we're hoping that people will come on board to do. We've had a fantastic person come on board to do some more social media for us. Her name is Julie. And we have people who are supporting on the outskirts who may not come to the meetings, but they're so good at saying, right, whatever you need, we'll go and do this. We have teams set up for different things as and when different actions are done. And we want people to be able, like Declan said, we want people to be able to come on board, come on board, join with what we're doing, get involved in the conversation. And see where you can fit into this new paradigm, to this new idea of homefulness, because everybody is welcome. As long as the minds are open and the limits are off, then everybody is absolutely welcome to come into this.
Wow, it completely is fantastic how the paradigm shift is changing. It takes 1 microgram to equal the snowball effect. And I know Bill isn't here, but he talks about future basing and creating a day for people to come into the room. And I think collaboration is part of that in some way. And Rome wasn't built in a day, so it is a space where it can be achieved. In what is the vision? Like we talk about the concepts, the ideas, the processes, the thinkings, but if the vision does become a reality over a period of time, what do you imagine it look like?
I'd love to see, and again, sometimes it can come across as maybe a lofty vision, and also I don't think so. I think that once the mind is open and the limits are off, anything is possible and everything is probable. And we had a meeting not so long ago up in Dublin, which felt like it may have gone from the sublime to the ridiculous, but it was actually such a brilliant mind expander, going from the idea of creating new villages for people to come in, ecosystems, self-sustaining ecosystems, where it's not just those who have been on the street that would be part of them, but it would be people who maybe like the old couple who are going to be split up because they have to go into an old folks home, or the mom and her 3 kids who's struggling to match the prices when it comes to buying a house in Ireland, and so on and so forth. The yuppie couple, then plus the people who've been out on the street. Picturing community centres where people can come together, picturing the idea of community as it used to be and as it's so needed, people coming together to support each other and help each other. To see something like that being created and then multiplied. So 1 village becoming 10 villages, becoming 20 villages, becoming 100 villages, becoming villages all over the world where homelessness is now gone. It's done. It's a thing of the past. And homefulness is the thing that everybody is talking about because there's spaces available for everyone. And we have another guy who's part of this group, Joe Clancy, amazing, amazing man. And he's in the building trade. And, he'll send solutions and ideas for modular homes or tiny homes or container homes. And there are things that have been started in different places like this, not in the spectrum or in the area of homefulness, but spaces that are set up. And there are places that have gone through to fruition and have these kind of things working. So it's not outside the realm of possibility, but seeing spaces where everybody is at home and everybody is sustained in a community, to me, that's exciting, because then everybody is together on a project. Everybody is looking after everybody else. And I don't think that's a big stretch of the imagination. I don't know what the other guys think. What do you guys think?
I'd be 100% what you're saying there, Ciara. And again, we had as I say, our last physical get together, it really did go off the Richter scale a little bit when it came to outside the box thinking. But again, I've been talking to this guy Thomas Fuller over in Canada, and again, it really reinforces this whole, for me, this the whole, I suppose, concept, if you want to call it, of an eco community. And if we can start to manifest some of those smaller little communities there, and people know they're there, they can come in even on a trial basis, come in and just see if the support is there, the mental support, the physical support, and the medical support. Call it what you want, the human connection there. And and I'm involved in another project that has embraced the I suppose the spirit of the Amish community. And when you look at how the Amish community operate and pool together to bring their time, their resources, their skill sets, the whole community come together to build a barn for somebody in the community, you generally within 24 or 48 hours. And that concept of giving and collaboration, for me, in a community where people can be educated, made feel part of a community, and give them a sense of worth. I think that would be a huge stepping stone for us if we could get something going along those lines there. So that's not a far out dream. That's something we certainly can do with the right people, without a doubt.
What do you think, Lee?
Well, I think Declan's right, and obviously at the same time, it's how do you make it a legacy project where it actually becomes like self-sufficient, where it's not all the aspects of. There's been a couple of bits in the chat there because there's loads of different aspects that come in under homelessness. It's not just about a home, and that's where some of our discussions and some of our vision is how do we make those communities a bit like Declan was saying about the Amish community. How do we create that new, I suppose, sense of sovereignty and reality where we're not caught within the paradigm of what others think society is. Obviously, society or the social construct of society creates these problems, as in not intentionally, organically, but at some point all the time we accept them as a society and we don't look to do something about them rather than, in a sense, maybe a few pennies in a jar or a paper cup. That isn't the solution. That's just, in a sense, a way of supporting the people where they are. So what we're looking to do, and some of the ideas we've discussed have been to create that legacy project where it's self-funding. The initial bit we need, I suppose, is we need more volunteers. We need people that have a concept beyond themselves that, in a sense, are empathetic and sympathetic, as well as driven to do something, however small or however much. So I suppose the call to action would be and I don't know how they get in contact. That would be either Ciara or Bill. Yeah, but Bill's not with us today, and he's trying to be with us. He's having trouble with connections, so it's not but Bill's very committed to the project. But if you're somebody listening now or watching this in record, reach out to us, and Ciara, I'm sure, or Rich or Aaron will let us know how to get in contact. And it's up on the screen there now. Go to the website, I'm assuming, and email us. If you're willing to be boots on the ground, whether that's as a volunteer, whether that's as to help us brainstorm, to find solutions, to utilise your network, to utilise, you might have land, you might have building skills, you might have psychological skills that we're looking, it's homefulness, which means we're looking to resolve and find solutions for it all, where this isn't a handout. This is, in my opinion, bear in mind it's my opinion, and I don't speak for everybody else that's here, but this is my opinion. The problem exists because something was already missed somewhere. And it's compounded throughout the years. It's compounding in every country in so many different ways, whether that's through natural disasters or whether that's just through organic life. Where my opinion stands is, when do we put literally a line and say enough is enough, and now we turn the tide back and we eradicate homelessness or anything in that area? Even when you go into homelessness and you take it one step further, refuges, hostels. The problems in some ways, because of society, or because not society, but because of problems within society, upbringings, etc. There's so many different ways this compounds out. So when we start to deal with homefulness and we actually take it seriously and we take action on it, when we turn the tide on that, we're also turning the tide on so many other problems that's within our social construct, whether that's learning disabilities, whether that's addiction, whether that's abusive relationships. There's so many different ways this goes back. And that's not to say they're all related to homelessness, but they are concepts within the social construct, within our reality that we accept as normal. And when it's all humans that's creating the problems in the first place, whether that be through that, each one of us is a stimulus for somebody else, how we show up. So I think it goes from having a solution to it to also having better education so it doesn't happen, better facilitation so it doesn't happen. But that's just my opinion, like I said. But at the same time, with action, and what we're looking for is people that get where we're going. We're not looking to convince anybody. We're not looking to drag anybody along. It's people that get that this can be eradicated, not just in Ireland, but right throughout the world. So that might mean a different political structure, a different social construct, a different education system. But obviously these are all big picture ideas. But for the problems that exist in the first place, I think the paradigm shift should be they shouldn't exist at all. So that would be my opinion. Mm-hmm. So whether that answers the question, Aaron, hopefully it does.
It does. And as we close up and wrap, what words of wisdom or what message do you want to leave our audience with that they can either take action or share to their network or do some form of saying, hey, you got to check out this project because it's going to change Ireland, but then the world, because as you do, you success, you rinse and repeat. So.
Well, I think I'd say, sorry, do you want to go, Lee? I think I'd say to everybody watching that for one thing to exist, anything and everything outside that thing can also exist. So if we're in a situation where homelessness is a thing, it's existing, it's a reality, then the polar opposite reality can also be real. And it's just for such a long time, everybody in a society has believed that this problem is the problem. So the first thing I would say is that we can have a completely opposite solution. We can have something that has never existed before. We can actually make that happen. But it just requires some outside of the box thinking and people actually coming together and understanding that everybody matters. So the people that you're seeing on the streets who don't have a house for whatever reason, who are cold and in doorways for whatever reason, because the reason is irrelevant, those people deserve warmth and homefulness. And if we all came together and we all shifted the way we think about things, that can happen. So that would be the first thing. And the second thing that I would like to leave with everybody is that everyone has a part to play. So the idea that we all think in our minds, surely somebody's going to fix something. Every single person who has that thought is the somebody. We're all those somebodies. So every single one of us can play a part in shifting this paradigm from homelessness to homefulness. All you have to do is have a willingness to try. And if you do, definitely get in touch.
Yes, a thought I would like to leave people with here is, look, guys and gals, we've all been exposed, especially over the last couple of years, the impact on, and I'm just going to talk about Ireland for a moment, the impact of the multiculturalism of it now. It's Ireland is no longer just Irish people, as if you know what I mean. And the thing is, they're still people, they're still human souls, and they have the same problems that we have, whether they were they've immigrated in here or whatever. So there's a lot of people from different cultures that their hearts and their souls are as big as ours, and we need to embrace those people, and we need to embrace those people into what we're doing here as well. They can bring and add so much value to what we're at here, and I think really shine a beacon on what we're doing here, and really expose it out. But for me, it's and again, I think Lee has said it there, Ciara has said it. If anybody is watching this live or watching the recording, if anything that we're talking about here resonates with you, and I mean really resonates with your heart and soul, please reach out to us. There's a saying, you don't know what you don't know. And there's a lot we don't know. There's a lot that we've experienced and consider ourselves reasonably educated, but there's still a lot we don't know. And there's a lot that we don't know. So what I'm saying, without getting into riddles here, is that the more people we have collaborating here and the more big hearts coming together here, one-on-one doesn't make two. The power of a small group of committed people can instigate and get change moving very fast here. Aron touched on it there. We're only a little snowball at the moment, guys, but we're going to blaze a trail here. It's done. In Bill Phillips' words, it's done. We're just backtracking now to make sure we tick off the boxes as we move along.
Very good, Declan. So, and it resonates with you at all if you can get just a pinhole in reality where you can see a different reality. And you just like that little glimpse, reach out to us, because many hands make light work. And we're not looking for the drama or the trauma of it, we're looking for a solution. So we're not looking to prove why it should exist. Yeah, we're looking for people that's already accepted it shouldn't. And we're looking to bring those together in a collaborative way in all different levels, all different stages, because it won't just happen with the few that's on the screen, but it will happen. So if you've got any sense at all, like I say, even just a pinhole in reality, and you can see a different world, a different reality, and us all pulling together to change it and to make the world, some might say, a better place. That's the reality we're going to, because by solving one thing, it solves so many parallel obstacles that are in society for so many different people. So reach out to us. I'm sure the details will be here. I'm not sure where. And we'll look forward to connecting with you. And if there's enough of you, we'll probably have a Zoom get-together and then a real-world get-together. If by chance you've watched this, share it, comment on it, invite people, tag people, do whatever you need to do, whatever you think can help us get the word out there. So I think it's back to you, Aron.
Yeah, guys, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to share and your busy times and being able to get people to know more and learn more about what's a fantastic project.
Thanks so much for hosting us, Aron. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Aron.
Thank you.
Stay tuned till next week, because we got a 3-part series of this, trying to figure out how can we enable, enhance, and inspire to end the problem around the world to give people their homes. And if you like this, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week.
Clouds above my head, another night, another doorway. How did I get here? Ashamed of what I have become. Where's the light that shines from my tomorrow? All I have are dreams of a place for me to call my home, somewhere I can call my very own again, a place to rest my head, where the wind won't whistle through me, a place for me to call my home. rise and strive to fight another day. So it begins, the city turns its back again. People don't see me, for I am no one, nothing but a dream of a place for me to call my home, somewhere I can call my very own again, a place to lay me down where the rain won't soak into me, a place for me to call my home. And what if I say there's a future? And what if I dare to believe? And what if I try to escape this? Would you be the one to set me free? A place for me to call my home, somewhere I can call my very own again, a place for me to stay, where I'm safe from those who'd hurt me, a place for me to call my home, a place for me to call